Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey.
From the Matrix Home Solutions Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560 The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer
Merry Christmas.
on AM 560.
Ho, ho, ho.
The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, and outgoing NIH Director Francis Collins. You may know him because of his musical career, but he's also the NIH Director.
Still?
Yeah, his last day was yesterday, I think.
Right, yeah. But, I mean, he's making music and putting out YouTube videos while he's working? Okay.
It's okay to have a hobby. I wish he would stick to his hobby, actually, and I wish he would have left the public health scene a long time ago. Francis Collins and that sad little man who is science. Remember, to criticize Tony Fauci is to criticize science.
Right.
They were doing the rounds on the Sunday talkies to make the ground fertile for the hysterics they're going to hear from Joe Biden about Omicron tomorrow. And if you don't think that the D.C. press corps is completely in the tank for these two and other COVIDian public health designees of these two, then you didn't see these interviews. Let me give you an example. Margaret Brennan to Francis Collins.
Good morning. And before we begin, Doctor, I want to note that this is your last day as director. You're not retiring, but you are stepping aside from NIH. So thank you for your service to the country.
Oh, please.
You know what I would
me.
like? You know what I'd like one of these people to do just one time? When they bring on a CEO or an entrepreneur or Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs, say, hey, thank you for your service to the country. You only serve the country if you're in the public sector. No one in the D.C. press corps ever considers anybody in the private sector serving the country. I'm so tired of listening to that claptrap. And that is just sort of professional courtesies from apparatchiks in the same brigade, if you will. And then Tony Fauci, Jonathan Karl closes out with Tony Fauci. Jonathan Karl filling in for Clinton Foundation donor zero. And by the way, I understand Fauci was at a big Jonathan Karl book signing party recently.
Oh, yeah, without a mask in Washington, D.C. before their indoor mask mandate was lifted.
Yeah, he only wears masks. He only wears masks when he's around people he doesn't know. If he's around people he knows, then that's fine. Really? Is that how the virus spreads?
That's not what we're
only to people
told.
You don't know? Tony Fauci was offered the opportunity to compare himself to Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Well, that's why some people say that the booster should now just be included as...
So finally, I know that your birthday's coming up. It's Christmas Eve. You're going to be turning 81. I think you're probably, for the last 2 years, have been one of the hardest working human beings in America. First of all, thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
But let me ask you, do you feel a responsibility to stay doing what you're doing until this has truly gotten under control? I mean, like I said, I think you're the hardest working person of any age, or one of them in the country.
Positively giddy.
Absolutely, John. There's no doubt about it. This is the thing that I do. This is what I've been trained and experienced in doing my entire professional life. There's no way I'm going to walk away from this until we get this under control. I mean, that's the purpose of what we do. That's our mission in life. In the middle of it, I'm not going to walk away. You know, we're in a war, John. It's kind of like we're halfway through World War II and you decide, well, I think I've had enough of this. I'm walking away. You can't do that. You got to finish it. And we're going to finish this and get back to normal.
He's so obsessed with power and fame that he thinks he's wanted and actually needed right now.
He is by Jonathan Karl. Jonathan Karl then closed out saying, could you sign this 8x10 and make it to my best buddy, John? For more on this, Lieutenant Colonel Jim Carafano joins us for our weekly confab. He's the vice president of the Catherine and Shelby Cullum Davis Institute for International Studies at the Heritage Foundation and author of the book, soon to be a Christmas classic, Brutal War, Jungle Fighting in Papua New Guinea, 1942.
It's an easy
Jim,
beach
thanks
read.
for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, hey, it's good to be with you. But it was painful listening to that.
Ugh.
Jim,
there.
but
It
before
really
we begin, I just want to say
thank you for your
I think
service.
I think you're one of the hardest working men in D.C. Maybe the hardest working man. I don't know how you do it. You're amazing.
We love you.
Oh man.
But we actually
Look,
should thank you for your service. But when you hear people, like Jonathan Carl and Brennan from what's her name from Channel 2 or CBS,
Margaret
Brennan, yeah, thanking them for their service as if they were, in the theater of war.
Well, look, people used to come up to me all the time and say, thank you for your service. And I say, hey, I did this not to be thanked. I did this because I thought it was important. But then I realized it is important for people to say thank you for your service. It's not important for that person to hear it, but it's important for people to say it, to understand what they're appreciative for. I contrast this with what these people are saying, which is really kind of almost like worship, or
yes.
That somehow these people have done something incredible. And the reality is look, our public health officials have kind of failed us. We used to hang in the disaster response business is tell people what you can, when you can, and then let people make the best decisions they can how to monitor their lives. People forgot that, years ago we had this thing called the color-coded disaster alert system. And you'd walk through the airport and they'd say, the terrorist alert level is yellow. And then we'd all go, well, what the hell does that mean, right? And it's like we learned nothing. First of all, we shouldn't be turning to public health officials to tell us how to live our lives. We should be turning to public health officials to tell us what is the state of public health. And we've gone way beyond that. For example, there's an enormous amount of data now that really questions the efficacy of masks, including randomized trials that really state that masks are useless. And then you have people who have vaccines and boosters and wear masks and get COVID, and nobody says, well, how does this make any sense? And yet we continue to worship people who are basically telling us things to do, and not just explaining public health to us. And they're being led by politicians of two kinds in this country. The president is so invested in the politics of this that it's always long since ceased to be about public health for him. It's this, I must be in control of the response, otherwise I am not the powerful public official that I said I was. There's almost nothing in the president's remarks anymore that actually relate to real public health. So,
the president's speaking tomorrow.
I get your frustration.
Well, he's making an announcement, and I don't know what he's going to say. I mean, now you have Senator Warren, Senator Cory Booker, Rep. Jason Crow of Colorado, all vaccinated, all received the booster, all have COVID. So the mitigations they have in place aren't working. So what in the world do you think President Biden is going to say?
Well, the fact is with both of them, they had the flu. Oh my God. Okay, so you had the flu. Big deal. Who cares? Stay home, drink a cup of tea, have a nice day, see you at work on Tuesday. Is this really we're going to shut down the entire American economy? And look, it's not just, the good news, I guess, it's not just the United States. We have countries all over the world doing stupid things. And then we have countries which clearly are just treating it like the flu and getting on with their lives as if this is the only thing driving a communist society. And you listen to television and radio, and they're talking about, oh my God, can I go for Christmas? Can I go with my family in the apartment? Where's
also
the connection to public health anymore?
Well, also too, the DC press corps. You're right. It's hero worship. It's not interviewing, and it starts from the premise that everything that Fauci or Collins says is to be accepted at face value because they're beyond reproach. And just on the mask issue, since Fauci declared on Sunday that we're going to have to wear masks on airplanes forever, essentially, is what he said. The Atlantic, which is a left outlet. David Zweig's latest piece, The CDC's Flawed Case for Wearing Masks in School. The Arizona study at the center of the CDC's back-to-school blitz turns out to have been profoundly misleading. Jonathan Ketchum, public health economist at ASU. You can't learn anything about the effects of school mask mandates from this study. His view echoed the assessment of 8 other experts who reviewed the research and with whom I spoke for this article. neither one of them is question about that. You just get to say, if you're a COVIDian, if you're approved by the blue check mafia, you just continue to get to say, wear a mask, take your jab, get your booster, do this, don't travel, blah, blah, blah. You just get to say that without any pushback, no matter who writes pushback, no matter what the evidentiary support is for the pushback. It's remarkable. It is just a runaway train that no one wants to stand in front of.
Yeah, I mean, you cannot do journalism, real journalism, in the Western concept of how journalism evolves. If your answer is, I will pick a narrative, and then I will just go with that narrative, and that's never what true journalism was about. True journalism about investigating, looking at, putting facts before people, looking at alternative explanations. But and this is the reason why you really can't run things this way and expect people to look at you and believe you're credible. Look, I look at Disney World. You go to Florida, nobody wears a mask anywhere.
Wow.
You go in Disney World, they say when you go inside you have to wear a mask, and we do. We don't wear the mask because anybody thinks it's doing anything, but we want to go to Disney World, so we'll wear the mask on the ride because that's what they said we have to do. But I can't believe that anybody walking around who goes into the grocery store doesn't wear a mask, and then all of a sudden is, but if I'm on the Pirates of the Caribbean, I need a mask.
Right.
I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
I wanted to get to something else, too, that is almost equally annoying, and you probably know some of these guys, but 3 retired generals penned this op-ed in the Amazon Post on Friday, warning about another coup, talking about starting from false premises. Army Major General Paul Eaton, former Brigadier General Stephen Anderson, former Army Major Antonio Taguba, were chilled to our bones at the thought of a coup succeeding next time, as if there was one. Without constant maintenance, the potential for a military breakdown mirroring societal or political breakdown is very real. They're worried about a contested election with loyalties split and a Trump-esque sore loser, as they essentially characterize it, and really generating a coup where the military splits. Some follow the commander-in-chief and some follow the person who lost, and madness ensues.
Well, look, I don't know if they were paid to do this or they're just idiots or useful idiots.
Could be both.
But yeah, it could be both. But this is the new narrative, right? It doesn't matter how screwed up we are. It doesn't matter how terrible these guys are. It doesn't matter how bad inflation is or open the borders are or start World War III. The greatest threat to democracy is if people other than them are ever elected again. Therefore, we have to do everything we can to subvert democracy to ensure that nobody but these people can be elected in order to protect democracy. I mean, this is the new, but we can't criticize Biden because people might vote for Trump or a person like Trump. I mean, this is just Orwellian. And,
you would
thank God Orwell was born. Otherwise, we would have no language.
Yeah, right.
What's going on here?
You got a few others, Vonnegut, Bradbury. They were sort of over the target too. But your point is well taken, and you would think that these retired generals may be more concerned about the news out last week about the number of Americans and Afghan allies that are still languishing under the Taliban in Afghanistan.
Yeah, apparently. Look, I was in the Army for 25 years. There are idiots, just because you put a uniform on and we say thank you and we're appreciative for the service of the uniform. But a uniform does not endow you with special qualities of brilliance. I saw a lot of stupid people in uniform, and apparently they took that with them into retirement.
Fair enough. Lieutenant Colonel Jim Carafano helping to provide clarity on these issues as well as always. VP of the Catherine Shelby Cullum Davis Institute for International Studies at the Heritage Foundation. The book, great stocking stuffer, Brutal War, Jungle Fighting in Papua New Guinea, 1942. Jim, Merry Christmas. Thanks as always.
You guys have a great holiday. God bless you. And thank you for what you do. That's a Christmas present for everybody in Chicago.
Oh, come on.
Thank you.
Dan's not a hero, I am.
Yeah, please.